Hey, what's up everyone, welcome to my channel. So it's time for my breakfast and I'll be eating oats with half kilogram of zero fat yogurt. So I'm going to eat my oats with a little bit of protein powder. So let's start with making the oatmeal in this big cup. So I usually fast for a few hours before I have my first meal, my breakfast, so I will eat a lot more calories. Probably going to add like half of this, and this is 500 grams, or a little bit more than that. Basically, this is what it's going to look like. And now the second thing I'm going to add is a little bit of hot water, just a little bit, and then I'm going to add the protein powder. And then I'm going to add the rest of the hot water. Also, I'm going to add a few bananas just for a little bit more taste. So yeah, just a few scoops of protein powder. Also, I offer custom videos, online personal training, custom training programs, and online chat or video consultations. So let's add a few scoops of protein powder. Okay, I'm going to start with 3 scoops. 3 full scoops of chocolate protein powder. And then I'm going to mix a little bit of it and add the remaining of the hot water, because it's not going to mix that well, because you need the liquid. You need to add like the perfect amount of liquid, and obviously it depends on if you like your oatmeal a little bit more thick or the opposite, so that's also very important. I like it somewhere in between, not very thick and not like a liquid. To be honest, something like this. I don't know if you can see, it's hot. Let's add a little bit more, because the oats, when they're not cooked, usually they start to absorb that liquid, and then they're going to get like soft and bitter. Imagine like raw rice, for example. At first, like 500 grams of rice is not that much before it's being cooked, but after it's cooked and it absorbs all the liquid, that's when it gets so much bigger. So keep that in mind. So this is going to absorb that water, so make sure that you add a little bit more, like a little bit extra. Okay, so it's hot, so I'm going to start with the zero fat yogurt first. So here's how it looks like. No fats, a lot of protein, so this is 500 grams, a little over 1 pound, and it's very hot, to be honest. This thing has 11 grams of protein per 100 grams, so Total amount of protein, 55 grams of protein. Decent amount of protein to start the day. Also, there's a lot of protein too, like right here. Again, please subscribe, leave a like and leave a comment down below, because it's going to help my channel grow, and to be honest, I'm way more motivated to keep uploading these. So I'm going to let it sit, finish with this, and then I want to eat it. Actually, you can check out one of my oldest vlogs, and I usually start the vlogs in this position, like this exact place, and you can compare my physique and you won't see the big difference. I used to eat oats in this same cup, but I used milk instead of the protein powder. And you can do both. Usually fast for 2 to 3, maybe 4 hours, and then I eat my breakfast. Again, it depends on how hungry I'm feeling. Some days I fast less hours, like close to 2 to 3. Some it's a little bit average, so I go for 3. And on some days I just don't feel hungry at all, so I can go a lot longer. So yeah, this is how it looks like. Let me show you. It's very nice. Let's see if I can eat it like right now. It's not quite ready. Also, at the moment I'm cooking some chicken breast, and I'm also going to add rice and a bunch of vegetables, and maybe a few white potatoes that I have to finish. Not quite ready, but I can eat it. It's still kind of hot. Also today I will be training shoulders, and let's talk about my training today. I usually do 2 exercises for my side delts, 1 exercise for my front delts, and rear delts I train on back day. But usually I start out with side delts first. I do dumbbell lateral raises. Now you can use cables. You can also do them like at a machine. but I use dumbbells because that's what I have. Second exercise for side delts, I do upright rows with the barbell. I like the 45-pound barbell. That's what I use, and I just do them. And usually I like to rotate through different grips. So for example, I might start with like a medium grip, do a few sets, count this as a different exercise, then do slightly more narrow grip, like move my grip a little bit more narrow, count this as a second exercise. Obviously it's a close variation, and do a few sets, and then I might do slightly wider grip, again do a few sets, I count it as a third exercise. When you switch something like that, it's going to change a lot of different things, like it changes the whole range of motion. And I believe that's important because different set of muscle fibers are going to be worked. For example, on the bench press, when you go like very wide, it's mostly chest. When you start to move your grip a little bit like inside, it's starting to work less chest and more triceps. Obviously this is a very big compound movement that works 3 muscle groups. Also the medium grip is the best grip, for the perfect grip for your chest. Maybe the very wide grip is going to work less chest and more front delts. And to be honest, in the past I usually did exclusively the close grip for a while, and then I moved on to the wide grip exclusively again for a while, and my chest grew, but I feel like I need a lot more. If I compare myself to other lifters, their chest is so more impressive. The same with my biceps. But yeah, so for front delts, I like the front raises obviously, and to be honest, for front delts I like both dumbbell front raises and barbell front raises. Now, when I do them with an underhand grip, I start to feel too much biceps, and I want my biceps to rest and be fresh when it's time to turn it, so I never really do the underhand grip. That's if you're using like a barbell. With the dumbbell you can still do that, but I'm not a fan. Also, I feel like when it's a slightly wider grip, it works a lot more side delt. So that's something that I like, because I don't want to completely isolate my front delt. I want to work all parts of the shoulders. I believe that's very important. The same with dumbbells. You just have to raise your hands like a little bit wider, and the front delts are still worked. Now I'm not the biggest fan of the shoulder press because I can feel it like it's mostly front delts. I don't feel my whole shoulder pumped up. I'm talking about feeling both the front delt and the side delt. I'm only feeling front delts. And I believe that for that very impressive shoulders, you need to build all three parts. Because actually, the rear delts, if you flex like this, they pop out. So it's going to look way bigger. And also when you turn like from the side, you're going to see that complete shoulder. I'll be honest, I kind of neglect my rear delts. But I'm going to slowly start doing a little bit more rear delt work, because I believe having a very balanced physique and I believe that your muscles, they grow in kind of in a proportion, meaning if you have a very small biceps and very strong triceps, I believe that your small biceps is going to limit your triceps growth. For example, if you have a small chest and very strong, very well developed front delts, I believe that chest weakness is also going to limit your front delts. So you need to make sure that your chest also grows like fast. Usually, now fixing weak muscle groups is something very hard, to be honest. Usually it requires finding the best exercises for you, and when you find these exercises, you need to actually start focusing on each rep more, because some people, and me also, sometimes I just go through the motions. For example, I know that I need to do 15 sets, 12-15 sets for my chest, even 10 in a workout. When I finish 5 sets, I just want to finish with my workout. I don't want to work out anymore, and that's why I'm a fan of the higher frequency, less volume in the workout. But again, sometimes I skip workouts and I end up doing less volume. So I believe that's one of the reasons why my progress is slower. But for weak muscle groups, you just need to find the right exercises and just focus on high quality volume. You don't have to do over 20 sets, but trying to do 15 high quality sets close to failure is what might fix it. If you try to do 30 junk sets, now that's not going to fix your weakness. And we have to spend double the time, twice as much in the gym lifting. If you enjoy that, fine, but you can actually benefit more by doing something else. You can do something like an active recovery training, maybe fix tendon weakness. Usually I have that for my arms, both biceps and triceps. I have weak tendons, meaning when I try to lift a little bit heavier weight on curls, I end up with pain. Like a day after I finish with my workout, it's sore, and it's not the bicep soreness, it's right here, because that's where the connective tissue and tendons are, and they're not strong enough to actually be able to lift that weight. Your muscles are able to, but your tendons are not. The same with triceps. If you have weak tendons, it's going to hurt your elbows when you try to lift more, do more volume, least overuse weight faster, and it's just not fun. It's not fun. I'm full, so I don't want to eat anymore. Probably end my first meal. And now it's time to lift some weights. It's time for my shoulder workout. I'm going to start with my first exercise, dumbbell water raises. I'll be using 12.5 kilograms, and I'll probably do 5 sets. 5 sets, let's start. I'm only going to show you like one set of each exercise. Take closest to failure. Second exercise is going to be for front delts. I'll be doing dumbbell front raises, again with both hands. Again, I will use the same weight, 12.5 kilograms. Let's start. Third exercise for shoulders is going to be the medium grip barbell upright row. I'll be lifting 45 kilograms. I'll do 3 sets of this upright row variation, and then you're going to see my next front delt exercise. Second exercise for front delts is going to be easy bar front raises. Now the weight that I'll be lifting is 17.5 kilograms, like total weight. Obviously, if you split the weight up by like half, it's going to be I'm not sure about the number, but it's less than 10 kilograms per shoulder basically. I'll be using like an overhand grip, and I'll be very strict with my performance. I'll grip the barbell slightly wider, like this. And just do high reps. All sets to failure. On shoulders it's perfectly fine, perfectly safe. You can go to failure. I can recommend that. Now I'll be eating ice cream. Let me show you, it has 3 different colors: chocolate, vanilla and strawberry. Let's start with the chocolate. It's very good. Now the vanilla. One more. And now the strawberry. The pink one. Just finished with my shoulder workout. I did 4 exercises, 2 for side delts and 2 for my front delts. Tomorrow is going to be a chest day, so I'll be recording a chest workout. The strawberry is very good. So chest workout, and I'll probably do at least 3 different exercises for my chest, up to 4, maybe even 5. Just to give my chest a little bit more variety of different exercises, not just sticking to the same exercise all the time. Also, recovery wise, doing more than 1 exercise is actually better, because on some exercises you have to use a lighter weight, like chest press for example, and not lifting heavy weights all the time is actually a very good thing, because our body, the very heavy weights, they are needed, but they also stress our body too much. So in a way we have to balance like these two things. Like, we need the weights to actually grow, but at the same time too much of that leads to overuse. And with our tendons, and that's when injuries happen. That's why it's a very good idea to limit your volume and control your frequency. Like, trying to train the same muscle group like all the time, every day, that's a little bit extreme, but just an example. Because a few years ago, it was people were doing that actually. They were training like full body 5 days a week. Now I don't think that's a very smart way to train. On paper, for me personally, it sounded very good. Like, muscle protein synthesis being elevated like every single day, and obviously when you train every single day, you only get to do very small amounts of volume, and you can actually improve your performance, because you're only doing like a few sets and you do them every day, so you're more recovered and you can actually train a little bit harder. But at the same time, you actually need a certain amount of volume to actually tear muscle growth. In other words, what you're doing, like 3 sets every single day, might not be enough. And yeah, that sounds kind of like it doesn't make too much sense, but again, I believe that. Because training every day a certain muscle group, every single day, even if it's on paper better for gains, it's actually worse for injuries. And you might get injured. For example, if you do curls every day, and it depends on your exercise selection, you might run into problems like probably soreness for a very long time, not being able to lift. So that's why I prefer to be a little bit more lazy with training. Because I want to be able to lift weights for a very long time. I don't want to get injured. That's why I started to limit my frequency. So I'm not training muscles more than like twice a week anymore. And sometimes I just stick to once a week. Once a week is plenty. Take a look at that. It's plenty, and obviously gains are going to come slow. At first, they're going to be very fast. but later everything's going to slow down. And you have to prioritize recovery. When you prioritize recovery, that's when you're going to make better gains. So how do you do that? Active recovery training. For example, dumbbell curls or band curls for very high reps, 20 or more, and use a lighter weight. Obviously it's going to be a lightweight, but you get the point. And you have to use very clean, perfect form, and yeah, it just helps with building up the tendons. It builds your tendons, and it's just something very good. Being able to lift without any pain. Because some people actually, they stop lifting because of that. And what's the point? You have to stop lifting weights, you lose off your gains. And it doesn't make sense. At the moment I'm cooking chicken breast with brown rice and lentils. Obviously this video is not going to be like a full day of eating, because I'm only showing you my pre-workout and post-workout meals, and it's a very special post-workout meal with ice cream. To be honest, out of the three right now, I'm enjoying the strawberry the most. It's very good, almost finished, the strawberry. Very soon I'm gonna start eating like a huge watermelons again, so stay tuned. Also, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment down below. And again, I offer custom training programs, custom videos. Whatever you say, I do it in the video. Also, online chat or video consultations, online personal training, custom training programs. And everything's very cheap because I still don't have a lot of views and subscribers, so now is the perfect time. Okay, very close to finishing the strawberry. I ate a lot of the ice cream, so hopefully I'm not going to have like problems digesting the ice cream. Okay, finished.